you. Thank you, and it's great to be with all of you today, ecoAmerica and the American Psychological Association, for convening us today on this briefing on children and youth mental health in the face of climate change. My wife is a psychiatrist. My wife was the chief of behavioral medicine at the National Institutes of Health. So I've been hearing about this issue for 39 years at the kitchen table, the mental health challenges in our country. And as the old saying goes, children are our future, but that means we owe them a livable future where they can thrive and not just survive. Young people are 20% of our population, but they're 100% of our future. And there is a mental health crisis in our country right now, and we have to make sure that we provide the resources in order to deal with it. So we thank all of you for being here today, and we very much appreciate the leadership which you are showing on this issue. We have to put a spotlight on it. We have to make sure that it gets the attention which it deserves. And children today will face 3 times as many climate disasters as their grandparents did. They are more vulnerable than any other population to the dangers of the climate crisis. Disasters supercharged by climate change are devastating communities. This August alone, hurricanes slammed Florida, mudslides hit Oregon, wildfires burned through Hawaii, and in my home state of Massachusetts, catastrophic storms flooded farmlands, and of course, we had 3 tornadoes in Massachusetts this summer. So it's not just global warming, it's global weirding which is taking place, and young people are taking note of all of the weirding that is happening, that makes it no longer just something that's predictable, but something that could, on a random basis, just be propelling itself right into their lives. So the scars of all of those losses this year are not just physical, they are also emotional, and we just have to be realistic about it. The disasters are terrible for all of us, but children, and particularly children from marginalized communities, are disproportionately harmed. Young children are more likely to die during climate-related disasters. Air pollution harms their developing lungs. Extreme weather keeps children from getting to school and from getting care, and their mental health will be forced to contend with the cumulative trauma of all of these crises. The compounding threats affecting our country today, mounting economic inequity, climate change, racial injustice, and healthcare crises are all required a bold, intersectional, and immediate response from those responsible for our children's well-being, from within schools and homes to the federal government. And that is why I have been fighting to make sure that we keep climate justice and environmental justice front and center in the fight against climate change. I have the same concern that Congressman Tonko has. Okay? We have to just continue to fight to make sure that we keep a spotlight on these issues. Together, we successfully fought for $60 billion in critical investments for environmental justice in the Inflation Reduction Act, considered the most significant investment in environmental justice and climate action in American history, and there is no number 2 bill that has ever passed that remotely compares to what we did just last August. And I'm still fighting to get the rest of our important priorities across the finish line, such as my Protecting Moms and Babies Against Climate Change Act, my Get Toxic Substances Out of Schools Act, and working with Congressman Tonko to pass the Community Mental Wellness and Resilience Act. These investments are a first step towards securing a healthier future for all children in the United States. Investments in community-based programs that are building mental wellness and resilience, especially for the children of our country. Investments in increasing youth capacity to fight back against the invisible scars and toxic stress of disasters like extreme weather events. And investments that ensure that young people from communities most affected, frontline, fence line, and environmental justice communities are not left behind any longer by American, federal, state, or local policies. We must act to help communities get the resources they need because we have to ensure that all communities that children live in become not just physically resilient, but ensure that children are mentally resilient in the face of climate change and other 21st century disasters. We want to see a world where children have clean air to breathe, safe schools to learn and play in, and loving and stable families to grow up in. We must continue fighting for climate solutions with equity and justice for children at their heart. Children have the most to lose from past generations' failure to address the climate crisis. This is the first generation to actually suffer from climate change, and it's the last generation that can do anything about it. That's where we are. And we have to become ever more aggressive in dealing with these issues right now. It is our responsibility to pass them a better planet. We must give them the tools they need to survive and thrive while we build their future right now. So I thank you, ecoAmerica and the APA, for this important report. And I thank all of you for joining us today, for the work that you're doing and the work that you're going to continue to do to put a spotlight on this issue. Young people have got too much that they have to deal with. There's a social media crisis. They've just lived through a pandemic. And climate change is just one additional compounding factor in these lives that young people are living in this country that they are growing up in, and we have to do something to make sure that we mitigate the impacts of climate change, but get the mental health resources to young people in our country at the same time. Thank you all so much.